Hi guys, it's Ben Heath from Lead Guru, and in this video, I'm going to talk about whether the iOS 14 update is going to cause a Facebook ad apocalypse. You probably tell from the title, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to explain why. We've got some more information around what the iOS 14 update is going to mean in terms of Facebook ads in comparison to when I recorded a video about a month ago, just before Christmas. So I've got some good news. I'm going to explain how that works, what's going to be impacted, and all that sort of stuff. Before I get into that, I just want to very quickly ask you to smash that like button and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are new and haven't done so already. This iOS 14 thing alone is very much an ongoing situation. There's lots of new information coming out, so I will be producing more videos on this topic as and when we know what's happening. So so make sure you subscribe so you see all that stuff coming up. So I just want to quickly recap. You may or may not have seen it, but I created a video all about iOS 14, how it's going to impact Facebook ads, and I recorded that about a month ago. And in that, I didn't want to be too negative, but I was quite concerned, as I think a lot of people within the Facebook ads industry are, that iOS 14 is going to have a massive negative impact on Facebook ads. It now very much looks like that is not going to be the case, which is absolutely fantastic, and I'll explain why. Me and a number of other people thought that when Facebook released this update on the Facebook and Instagram apps, where they have the pop-up, where they ask their users, are you happy for Facebook to track, or are you happy for Instagram to track your activity on other websites, etc., other apps and things like that? And we basically could be pretty confident that most people, when that pop-up occurs, are going to say no. And that's just a quick background if you're not familiar. That's what the iOS 14 update is enforcing. It's making Facebook have these pop-ups and allow people to either opt in or opt out of being tracked on third-party websites and things like that. That's why it's such a big deal. And we thought that most people are going to opt out. Okay, and does that mean that we're no longer going to be able to run conversion campaigns effectively for anyone on an iOS device? Because obviously if you're sending website traffic to your website and you can't work out whether or not they're going to convert, that's a huge deal, right? That's basically going to mean you can't run a conversion campaign to iOS users. You can still do to Android users, to iOS users if they all opt out. And instead, you're going to have to focus on things like traffic campaigns, which completely changes best practices and all that sort of stuff within the Facebook advertising space. However, Facebook released a webinar, and there's lots of information in there, but the really crucial bit of information is that if someone opts out of Facebook or Instagram tracking their activity on third-party websites and things like that, it doesn't mean you can't track a conversion. This is absolutely huge. So it does mean that what Facebook and Instagram can track is limited. So for example, if someone opts out, instead of seeing that someone came through to your website, went to a certain page, then added to cart, then initiated checkout, then purchased, you're not going to see all that data. But if they get to purchase, you will still see the purchase. And that is absolutely huge, because not only does that mean that you can see exactly what results you're producing with your Facebook ad campaigns, so you still will be able to see, okay, we spent this much, we generated this many purchases, it was X profitable, all that sort of stuff. It also means that you can optimize your campaigns, so you'll be able to see which ads are producing better results because you have that purchase data, and which aren't, which targeting options are producing best results, which aren't, so you can optimize accordingly. Just the stuff I teach, pausing campaigns, pausing ads, pausing ad sets, pausing ads that don't perform as well, all that sort of stuff. It also means Facebook's able to optimize much better, okay? The reason why conversion campaigns for many years now have performed so much better than other campaign options like traffic and things like that when you want to generate conversions is because Facebook uses all the data it gathers around the people that convert and uses that data to inform who to put your ads in front of. So for example, if you're targeting men aged 30 to 55 and Facebook has actually worked out that you get the majority of purchases from men aged 45 to 55, even though you've got wider targeting parameter, Facebook will zero in on the best audience for you. Likewise, Facebook will work out that if people are more likely to convert on Facebook versus Instagram, they'll put more of your ad impressions on Facebook. If people are more likely to convert at 6 p.m. in the evening versus 10 a.m. in the morning, they will show more of your ads at 6 p.m. So Facebook really relies on still being able to track who is taking certain actions, like a purchase, like becoming a lead, those conversion events, in order to optimize the campaigns and get you the best results possible. And just to show you the difference that makes, Facebook estimated that if you removed the ability for them to track conversions, it would have you would see a 60% decrease in effectiveness of Facebook advertising. But the good news is that is not happening. That is not going away, because even if Facebook opts out, Facebook can still track one conversion event. They can't track all the stuff they do, but they can still track one conversion event, which at the end of the day, for the vast majority of Facebook advertisers, is all you should really be focusing on anyway. Like, yes, you can look at other metrics, but if you're an e-commerce business, you want to be looking at purchase numbers, cost per purchase and stuff like that. If you're generating leads for your website, you want to be looking at cost per lead. So you're going to lose other data if people opt out, and on iOS devices, again, this is not going to apply to Android devices. I need to make that clear. But that is really big, and that is really substantial. And I think that for the vast majority of Facebook advertisers, it means you will still be able to advertise in the same way that you do now. The best practice is still going to apply. Now, there is going to be less data coming through, and there's a few other reasons for that, which I'll get to in a minute. So it is going to make Facebook advertising slightly less effective, all things being equal, before this update in the sort of Facebook advertising world we're in now, and then after this update in the Facebook advertising world we're going to be in. There is going to be a slight drop in effectiveness. Facebook, we're talking about, it might be as much as 60% if they could not track any conversion events. That's not the case. They can track conversion events, which is awesome. So I would predict you're talking probably, for most advertisers, literally a 5 to 10% impact, negative impact. That's it, okay? Because remember, it's going to be limited to iOS users, right? This lack of tracking. It's only then going to be for the people that opt out, which might be most, but it might not. You know, most people accept cookies just because that's the way the pop-up looks, and it's easy just to click the accept button. You know, you probably do the same as I do on websites. Just like, oh, whatever, just get this pop-up out my way, accept and carry on. People may well do the same with this pop-up, so it might not be that big a deal. And then, so it's only affecting a chunk of your target audience, not all of it. And then of those that this is affecting, it's nowhere near as bad as we first did. And when I created that video a month ago, I did say, look, it may not be a big deal here. There may be reasons why it's not going to be such a big deal. And it very much looks like that's not going to be the case now, which is absolutely fantastic. And honestly, if your Facebook ad campaigns get 7% less effective, and that's make or break between it working for you or not, you probably weren't going to be able to run Facebook ads over the long run anyway. And there are things you can certainly do to overcome that drop, okay? So it very much looks like Facebook advertising has continued to be a very effective, strong advertising platform. Absolutely where you want to be investing your money. Absolutely where the vast majority of the businesses we work with see the best possible results, much better than on most other platforms. So that is the good news. A few other things I need to mention, because we've got a bit more clarity around this now, is that results aren't going to change as much as they might look like they're going to change. I'll explain what I mean. There's two big changes around that. So instead of providing virtually real-time data, there's going to be a delay in reporting. So right now, if someone clicks on an ad, goes through to your website, makes a purchase, that's going to show up in your ad account almost immediately. Like, there's a small delay, but pretty quickly. That's not going to be the case anymore. We don't know exactly how long the delay is going to be. Most people think around about 48 hours. Something between 24 and 72 hours, so 1 to 3 days, is going to be a delay period between when someone takes an action and when you actually see the data. So this is very important, because of course, if you start running a new campaign and you don't see any purchases for 2 days and you start panicking, doesn't mean they haven't happened, just mean it hasn't showed up yet, okay? So you're going to have to do a little bit more work in terms of matching up the results you see in your Facebook ad account to what the campaign is actually generating. There is going to be that delay. So that's going to you have to think about that from a decision-making standpoint. You also are probably going to need to change your approach somewhat to, you can't run an ad for a day and make an assessment on whether it's performing well or not, because you won't have the data, right? Same with targeting options. You're going to need to give things like ads, ad sets, all that stuff, a much longer time horizon than a day or two, which, if you follow my content, you'll know I've been recommending for years anyway. I like assessing things in general over a 7-day time period, because I think anything less than that is silly. That's even more important after this update takes place and there is that delay in reporting. You're just going to have to take a more longer term approach and look at things over a longer time horizon. I think most Facebook advertisers, I've said this before, if Facebook just gave all Facebook advertisers a weekly report, or a weekly report, they'd be better advertisers than looking at their own ad account day in, tweaking this, tweaking that, changing this. And this delay in reporting, in a way, is actually going to help a lot of that. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, that one. There's definitely positives to it as well as negatives. So that's part of it. The other part is that Facebook are changing their attribution window. So right now, the default attribution window is 28 days click, 1 day view. What that means is that, let's say someone clicks on your ad today, but they don't buy for 2 weeks, which happens all the time, by the way. People don't think it happens because they forget that when you're advertising on Facebook, you're advertising to real human beings. It's not like a video game system, right? Real human beings. So what do people do? They might click on your ad, they might check out your product, like the look of it, but go, you know what? Need to do a bit of research. Need to find out what else is available. Need to find out if we need this one. Perhaps I need to have a chat with my wife or husband about it. You know, people, there's all sorts of reasons why there's a delay in purchasing. So someone clicks on an ad today, buys in 14 days time. That will still be registered in your Facebook ad account with the attribution window 28-day click, because it will capture all of those conversions that take place within a 28-day period after someone clicks, and then 1 day view is 1 day after they've viewed an ad. Because, for example, someone might see an ad, they might not click on it, but they might remember the brand name, give it a search in Google, then go ahead and purchase, and that'll still show up. Going forward, the attribution window is getting rid of the view through. So no, if someone just views it and then Googles and purchases, you're not going to see that. And they're going to be limited to 7-day click. So what that means is if someone clicks on your ad today and buys in 9 days time, 2 weeks time, they are not going to show up as a conversion in your ad account. So what does that mean? That means that basically overnight when this change happens, you might start seeing what look like worse results in your ad account, but that's only what it looks like. Let's say under the current system, you generate 100 sales and you see 100 sales in your Facebook ad account. Into the new system, you might generate 100 sales, but only see 80 or 75 in your ad account. You still generated 100 sales. The profitability and the results you got from the campaign are exactly the same, but you just missed out on some of the reporting because they're being limited. And this can affect some businesses more than others. If you're selling really cheap or inexpensive products, that's an impulse purchase, most people are going to buy pretty quickly, so it won't affect you as much. If you're offering something that's more of a considered purchase and you regularly have long lead times, only tracking 7 days may well impact your numbers a lot. So what you're going to need to do is look at the Facebook ad account data and then look alongside your Shopify numbers, your Google Analytics numbers, and make sure that you're factoring in the additional purchases, the additional conversions and leads and things like that aren't being reported in your Facebook ad account. It's not changing what's actually happening, just what you can see. Very, very important. I'm going to be sort of hammering that home to all our clients when they're like, what? Why have our results gotten worse? You go, no, they haven't. They just look like they have. So that's very important. Something else I wanted to mention around that. Yeah, and that's, by the way, that's important to think about in terms of attribution windows. It's why now, by the way, if you were to assess how your campaigns did in January on February 1st, they would, you might have generated, $30,000 in sales. If you then check what happened in January, February 28th, even though you still look at the same time period, the results for January might, instead of showing $30,000 generated, might be $38,000 generated, $40,000 generated, because there were all those people that clicked on an ad on like January 30th, January 29th, that then bought in February 2nd, February 3rd, and Facebook puts that data back to when they originally interacted with the ad. So that's why, again, longer term. It's just not how human beings are wired. It's not what anyone wants to do. People who are attracted to digital marketing are probably even more short-term focused than most with all the real-time reporting and stuff. But the answer to all this is to crack on as always, but just stop being too emotional, stop being too anxious around your ad account, don't panic, think about the long term. And by long term, the long term on an ad is like 3 weeks. We're not talking forever here. You just can't be making decisions, snap decisions after a week, 2 weeks, things like that. Budget accordingly, right? You need to have enough cash to run this campaign for a few months to really know how it's going to perform, okay? So that's all the good news. And that really is good news, guys. It does mean that for the time being, the best practice that I teach in my courses or my other YouTube videos, like I've had lots of comments on my older YouTube videos, people being like, does this still work with iOS 14? The answer is yes. Yes, it does, which is absolutely fantastic. With that said, I am currently testing a number of different strategies that don't involve conversion-based campaigns. I very much hope that I never have to use them, or that we're never in a, that's not true. I very much hope that we're never in a situation where we can't run conversion campaigns effectively, which is what some of us feared when we first heard about iOS 14, the updates. That's not the case. We can run conversion campaigns. Please keep running conversion campaigns to see the best results possible. But it's not impossible that there are future updates, whether it's from large tech companies or government intervention, where we're not able to run conversion campaigns. It may well happen. I said, I very much hope and probably expect, to be perfectly honest, that I will be creating videos in 5 years' time, maybe even 10 years' time, where you can still run conversion campaigns on Facebook and Instagram and whatever new thing they're advertising on by then, right? That's what I expect. I think there's just way too much money involved in conversion campaigns. Think of all the advertising on Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all the various, we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars at stake for it to go away. So I don't think it's going to go away, but it could. So I am working on other options, and I will be releasing videos on those. It's definitely going to be focused more around the long term. It's going to be thinking in 12-month time horizons as opposed to 1 month time horizons, which is what a lot of conversion campaigns are assessed on now, like direct to offer stuff. So I'm working on those, and I will have more information. But for the time being, all the stuff I've talked about still applies. Still going to be using my CBO campaign structure. Still, if you're a Facebook Ads Insiders customer, all that stuff still applies. I will have some more content in there, but all that stuff still applies for now. So crack on. Just wanted to make sure you knew that. Another thing I wanted to finally mention is that Facebook are very much aware that this is an issue, right? That they are concerned about iOS 14. They've produced lots of literature on it. They're trying to make it useful, and they are actively working on workarounds. Okay, they are actively working on workarounds. I am not going to discuss it in this video because it's a whole other topic, but the impact of the iOS 14 update on people running app install campaigns is more significant. It's going to be more than the 5 to 10% that I'm talking about that most Facebook advertisers running, say, conversion campaigns to their website are going to see. And Facebook are working on this hard and trying to find solutions because they know that their business is on the line, right? Facebook makes all their money from advertising. If advertising on Facebook is less effective, they know that a lot of advertisers leave. Facebook's market cap goes through the floor. Their profitability goes. So they are, they hire some of the smartest people in the world, and they are working really, really hard on combating all this stuff. So I know a lot of advertisers feel like they're fighting against Facebook because they get ads disapproved and stuff, but really at the end of the day, Facebook is very much on your side, and they want to make Facebook advertising as effective as possible. So they're going to do whatever they can to take this seriously. Okay, hopefully that has been useful. Before we go, a couple of things I want to mention. The first is a free webinar called 3 Killer Facebook Ad Strategies to Double or More Your Revenue. And because this iOS 14 update is not going to be anywhere near as impactful as we thought it was going to be, all those strategies very much still apply, and I'd recommend you use them. They're 3 strategies we've used with our clients for years, very much tried and tested, deliver fantastic results. We generated millions of dollars with each. Strongly recommend you check out this webinar. It's free. Link is in the video description below. And one thing I should mention is that in this webinar, right, I break down the 3 sales funnels I'm talking about. I also tell you which one you should be using depending on the products or services you offer. That's really important because too many people teach a one-size-fits-all approach to Facebook advertising. No, you need different strategies for a $20,000 service as you do for an $80 product, right? You need different strategies because they're very, very different things. And that's what I show you in that webinar. 60, 70 minutes long. Trust me, go check it out. You'll be very, very happy that you did. Other thing I want to mention is our Facebook advertising services. So my company, Lead Guru, is a Facebook advertising agency. We create, manage, and optimize Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns for our clients. Right now, we have a minimum budget requirement of $3K per month. So that's what we require for a business to be able to work with us. But if you do meet that budget requirement, then and you're interested in obviously finding out more about our services and how we might be able to help you get better results, we've probably worked with a business like yours previously, you can go ahead and book a free call with one of my team members. So if you click on the link in the video description below, there'll be another one, take you through to a page on our website where you can book a 30-minute strategy session. Very relaxed, no obligation chat where you can find out more about our service. We can find out more about your business and how we may be able to help. As I said, we've probably worked with someone like you in the past before. And yeah, hopefully help you get the best results possible in 2021. So yeah, go ahead and do that. and if you're interested, and hopefully we get a chance to work together. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, smash that like button, please comment below to let me know. I can't get to all the comments, but I do see them all. Subscribe to my channel if you are new and haven't done so already. I will almost certainly be having more iOS 14 updates over the next weeks and months, because this is a bit of a changing beast, and I will do my best to keep you guys informed. And yeah, best of luck with everything, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Bye.